Are you tired of sitting down to practice the drums and feeling like you're making zero progress? Do your practice sessions look like this? Or this? I think we've all experienced this at least once. Well, you can turn your practice time around with these 5 easy steps. Stay tuned to find out how.
Okay, so do you feel like your practice times are super inefficient or outdated? If so, I have 5 incredibly practical practice tips that are going to help you make the most of your practice time.
Okay, the first thing that you need to do in regards to practicing drums is actually take a step back and build maintainable practice habits. You need to start with an incredibly small habit and make it so easy that you can't say no. When it comes to practicing often, it all comes down to creating an effective habit. Practicing the drums has to be as second nature as making coffee in the morning, making breakfast, and not doing your homework. So many of us create practice habits that are simply not maintainable, and as a result, we go days, weeks, months, or years without practicing the way we'd like.
So what's something incredibly small that you can do that ensures that you make it behind your kit or practice pad each and every week? For example, maybe your goal is to literally sit down, pick up your sticks 4 times a week, and that's it. After you do that, you can put your sticks back down and walk away. But I bet 9 times out of 10, that small goal is going to lead you to practicing and making small steps forward each and every week. Most people who overshoot their goals end up getting overwhelmed and not spending any time behind the kit, which seems like it's a lot worse. According to James Clear, motivation and willpower is like a muscle that ebbs and flows over time. So if we make a graph, you can see how inconsistent your motivation can be. And if your goal is too high, there are gonna be times where you completely drop off and can't hit the goal. But if you have a low, attainable goal that you can hit consistently and oftentimes overshoot, then that will contribute to you maintaining a healthy habit and making consistent progress on the kit. Now, the next thing you want to do is set your practice time in a routine way. What days of the week are you going to practice? Is it going to be Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Friday? That was a weird order of days. But whatever order of days you decide to pick, make sure that you create a routine around that it's manageable. So if it is 5 days a week, let's say Monday through Friday, then the next step is determining how long you are going to be practicing each day. Is it going to be the same amount of time every single day, or 2 days of the week, do you have more time available to practice? Whatever it is, try to set that up first so that you know exactly what to expect going into your practice time. Now, if you want to get super intense about it, you can actually plan out your practice for the next 3 months so that you're not running into barriers along the way. So if you're super short-sighted about things and you're just going a week at a time and you happen to miss a day or 2 days, that could then end up completely throwing off the next week of your practice. But if you are really looking far down the road, then this can help you look at your practice as one longer journey. And plus, as humans, we just like that 90-day transformation. So this could be a great place to start for you. Now that you've established very maintainable goals and habits, it's time to start increasing those habits over time. For example, if your habit was to sit behind the kit and pick up your sticks 4 times a week, well, now you could slowly increase it to maybe practicing for 10 minutes every single time that you sit behind your kit. And after you do that for a couple weeks, maybe you can increase it even more. But remember, you want it to be maintainable.
Now, as you continue to build up your practice time, you can also break your practice into chunks. So for example, if you're practicing 20 minutes a day, instead of doing that all in one sitting, you could split it up between 10 minutes in the morning and then 10 minutes at night. As you increase your practice more and more, this is an incredible method to keep things very attainable.
Now, with all of this, it is incredibly important to keep pushing forward. With your daily practice routine, every once in a while, you may miss a day or two. But regardless, it's really important that the next day you show up to practice and you continue to keep pushing forward and putting in the work. You don't want to adopt a mentality that you've failed or that you made a big mistake, because then what happens is you get really down on yourself and you stop practicing. But if you look at your drumming journey as a whole, you want to continue to take those small steps forward every single week, regardless of if you miss a day or two here or there. Now, as you are making progress on the drums, it is vital to celebrate your small victories each and every step along the way. Now, progress is a roller coaster of a road. Some days you might feel amazing, and some days you might not, but that still means you're making progress. So every time you feel that progress happening, whether you nailed that fill for the first time or increase your paradiddle speed by 10 BPM, I want you to celebrate that small victory. This can be as simple as going for a walk, getting some time outside, or sharing your small victory with a community of like-minded drummers that can help celebrate you. Or you could do one of your favorite hobbies like skateboarding or anything like that. Really, as long as you are doing something that makes you feel good, that's celebrating your small victory. Now, it's also really helpful to break up your practice into days that align with the different pillars of drumming. So those pillars are beats and fills, coordination, speed, creativity, patterns and technique, and finally, practical knowledge. So let's go over one pattern that we can apply to each one of these pillars. That pattern being the 6-stroke roll, which, if you aren't familiar, is the sticking pattern right, left, left, right, right, left. So the first day you could work on your patterns and technique. In this case, that would just be working out the 6-stroke roll on the practice pad in its original subdivision, which is 16th note triplets, but then you can try it in a different subdivision like 16th notes. That would sound like this. Then the next day you could work on beats and fills. And in that case, we try to incorporate the 6-stroke roll into our beats and fills like this. Then the next day you could work on your coordination, in which I have a pretty killer coordination exercise where you are going to play 6-stroke rolls as 16th notes on the snare, and then on your feet you are going to play a 6-stroke roll with the stickings being every 3rd note. That would sound like this. Okay, so I'll leave it to you to try the 6-stroke roll and apply it to the other pillars. Now, the next thing that you can do to maximize your practice is to actually log your practice. So write down the starting and the ending tempos of each exercise that you're actually working on. For example, if you are practicing paradiddles, maybe you started at 60 BPM and you ended at 90 BPM. You want to write that down so that the next day or the next week, you're able to come back to that and see how much progress you made, and this time you can try to surpass that progress. If you're not writing it down, there's a chance that you're just practicing paradiddles at 70 BPM for a year and not actually getting better. Now, at DBO Academy, we have an incredible tool called the My Journal tool where you can do exactly that. You can write down what you practiced, your starting and ending tempos, and that way you can keep a log for everything that you're working on so that you can track your progress in the most organized way possible. If you want access to that and our incredible courses that help you make progress on the kit, join the DBO Academy waitlist right up here, totally for free, and I will send you a free lesson. Now, the next thing you should do every single time that you practice is play along to a metronome. This is just very important for any drummer out there because guess what? The drummer is the timekeeper, and what helps you with your time? Playing with a metronome. No matter what you are practicing, if you throw on a metronome along to that, it's going to give you instant feedback on whether you can play that beat filler exercise in time or not. Now, if you are an intermediate or more advanced player and you want to take this practice to the next level, you can work with something called a gap click, where you would have a metronome on for one measure, and then it would shut off the next measure, and then it keeps repeating, so that when the metronome comes back on, you're either going to be in time or out of time. This is an incredible way to build your timing. Another tip to improve your timing is to throw the metronome on the end of every beat. Again, this will challenge you because traditionally we're used to hearing the metronome on the downbeats. So changing up your perspective, having it go on the up beats will certainly challenge your timing. Now in DBO Academy, we have a mega metronome that has gap clicks. It gives you full customization of what type of metronome you want to play with. You can do speed training, all of this to help improve your timing. You can join the waitlist right up here. On to the next point. When you are practicing, it's really important to pay attention. A lot of the times, drummers like to play on a practice pad while they're watching TV, but you're not actually understanding the nuances of what your hands are doing. So you're actually kind of missing out on a lot. For example, if you are practicing your double stroke rolls and everything sounds good, that's awesome. But maybe one thing you'd be missing out on if you're watching TV is that one of your hands might be way higher than the other one, or maybe your technique on your weak hand is a little bit off. You want to have all of your senses available to be able to not only hear how things sound, but also see how they sound. So if you are cognizant of all of these things during your practice time, you're going to have much more efficient and effective practice, which is so important because so many drummers waste hours practicing things that aren't actually getting them better. So once you are able to start developing really great practice habits, you will start seeing a lot more progress in your drumming. Speaking of big progress in your drumming, if you want access to all of my lessons, as well as these incredible practice tools that we talked about throughout this lesson, I would highly recommend joining the DBO Academy waitlist. Right up here, DBO Academy is my online school that helps you make constant progress on the drum set. So join the waitlist, it's totally free, and I will send you a free lesson once you join. But thank you so much for watching this lesson. Stay true, and I will talk to you very soon.